are up on our 12th interview. This is a lady called Tammy, and I recruited her from user interviews. The interesting thing about her application for me is, number one, she was using LinkedIn Learning as her platform of choice for this. And she got that free because it was included in whatever premium subscription she had. Normally, I don't want to talk to people who pay nothing for this. But when I had a look at her interview responses, it did sound like she was using this specifically for a work context. And I thought it would be interesting to bring somebody in where the only thing they're spending is time. So grab your pencils, grab your timeline of progress, start thinking about the four forces, listen to this interview and see, is there still a struggle for somebody who doesn't spend any money? And can you still learn from their story? Cheers.
So while that's going, I'll just give you a bit of backstory. So I'm doing some very, very early stage research. And what I'm most interested in is the language that people use to describe, first realizing maybe they needed some new skills or whatever it is in your own words, searching for eventually signing up and joining a course on this sort of visual communications, and then your experience using that course. So the good news is it's your story in your own words. You can't get anything wrong, and there's no trick questions or anything like that. And the bad news is where it is about your story, I'll apologize up front because I'll probably interrupt, but it's only because I'm trying to make sure I understand the words or how you're using a phrase.
Okay.
So sorry, don't want to be rude, but I'll probably step in a few times and
that's
just
fine.
And you can kind of think about this. Imagine we're filming a Netflix documentary series of people who've joined this type of course. This is your episode, so I might ask some weird questions, like imagine I'm following you around with the video camera trying to shoot the scene, like who's in the room or whatever.
Sure.
But I find it helps jog people's memories. So hopefully that's all good. So Tammy, on this, to launch into the story, perhaps can you just start off, give me a bit of an overview of who are you and like what's going on in your life when you joined this LinkedIn course?
Well, basically, I joined it because I wanted to learn more about how to put together, slides, images, pages that were going to grab people's attention, because I'm not a very artsy fartsy kind of person, I call it. So I need, like ideas, and I felt like I needed something with some concrete, more organization, something, that had been proven, people that were educated in this to kind of guide me along with my novice ability in doing this, so that's kind of why I initially, took this, pretty basic course, but it did give me ideas, and it did give me, some of the tools, to use, when I was trying to put together, whether it be pages, slides, video, whatever it might be.
Okay, this is cool. So this is great. So it's basically learning how to put together slides, page, images, things like that. I want to grab someone's attention with this. Why? Why am I trying to grab their attention? Why not leave them alone?
well, I think the particular audience that I'm looking for, it could be anybody, but there was a specific niche, I guess, that I was looking for. So that's why I wanted to learn how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what programs, platforms were the best ones to use. And that's what I needed help with.
Okay.
If that helps.
Yeah, it does. But it sounds like there's a particular niche, a particular audience whose attention you wanted to grab. Who were they?
Basically, a group of people that could help me launch kind of a grassroots fund for helping people who are disabled.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm launching a grassroots fund to help people who are disabled.
But it could have been anybody that, it could be anybody that might see this information. It didn't necessarily have to be that particular group. The point behind it was initially to basically start raising money to put a fund together, and but I needed the tools to be able to even start this, to even put together the pages, how to lay them out.
Yeah, maybe Tammy, maybe if I step back, is this is it your job to launch grassroots funds to help different people, or is this just some sort of
this is more personal. This is more personal for me.
Okay, so it's like a personal project that. And where are you at with it? Is this
just starting?
Okay,
just starting, maybe a couple of months in.
Okay. And maybe like just to give me a bit of backstory about yourself, like who are you, and why is this important to you, so I can put this in context.
Well, part of the reason is I'm going through it myself. So, when people go months, here where I'm at in Michigan, in the United States, you have to go without income or a substantial gainful income for a number of years, even, while you're waiting for, in essence, a program to pay out that you've paid into your entire life.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to get the word out there that there's kind of this lost group of people that they need something, in the interim to help them.
Okay. So this is like, if I'm hearing you right, so personal experience. If you happen to end up getting disabled, you're unable to go and make a living. You're eligible to some extent for a program or whatever you've paid into.
It takes years to get there.
There's a gap in here, and in that interim period, we need a way to help those people so that they can survive. Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. And so, I mean, that sounds quite powerful. That's good, really important work. When did you start doing this? Like, when do you?
A couple of months ago.
Okay, like June, July, or?
Yeah, probably June. Yeah, probably June, beginning of summer. So.
Okay. And maybe if we shoot down, so when did you join this course?
Oh gosh, I took it probably close to a year ago.
Oh wow, okay, so quite a while ago.
Yeah, I took it probably close to a year ago. I had my LinkedIn, I had a premium account. So it was, it saved me quite a bit by having that active paid subscription. And this was a course that was offered. The instructors, were from the Maryland Institute of Arts. So they had some, more formal education, in art, and, how to put together, just the, why certain typography and layout, and, just how you do those kinds of things, and why, which ones work with, maybe a certain emotion you're trying to grab versus, another one. So.
Okay. And so on this one here, it's sort of, let's say it's a year ago, September 2024. At that point in time, you've got a LinkedIn premium account, I think you mentioned. And then, like, this course itself, were you taking lots of courses on LinkedIn at the time, or is this relatively unusual that you've
this was much more unique. I mean, I had taken a few of them, just, a quick, maybe couple hour or something that, if I had some time to kill, and something that I thought might, maybe a few years ago have helped me in my job, I'd take it. But this one I kind of sought out more specifically because I didn't have a lot of experience in doing what I needed to do. And with social media being such so for front and center these days in everyone's lives, I mean, I'm sure 99% of the population uses it. I knew that this was going to be probably the best way to help, what I was trying to do.
Okay, thanks for that. So you've actually sought this course out by the sounds of things, and it's twofold. When I don't have the experience in this stuff, and so I can communicate. And originally you were talking like slides and things like that, but this sounds like it's tied to social media itself. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Because in order to reach the social media group that I wanted to, I didn't know the best way to do that. I'm not a big now, these interviews are fine, but to put myself out there, in a video on social media, I'm not there yet. So,
Okay.
I thought, graphically with photos, flyers, slides, something I could put into, a video display to post on social media. I needed to learn how to do that.
Okay. So this is quite an important piece. So you're sat there thinking, how do I put myself out on social media? I don't necessarily want to be the host of my own show or whatever. So I'm looking for other what? Like, why are the videos and the slides and things like that so important?
Because I guess alternatively, I wasn't sure what the best way would be other than being able to do that. And I knew I needed to be able to make it look, professional and not like I just threw a bunch of random clip art on a piece of paper, which is about the experience level that I had.
Right. So. Okay. Right. Fair enough. Thanks. At least you're honest.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say. Now, I mean, maybe a little more advanced than that, but
right. Okay. So tell me if I'm hearing you right. Then, so what's the best way to create these slides and videos? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the best way could be. I mean, we could use whatever, I guess, platform we wanted to use in this program when we did little, practice, pieces. I mean, we could use Canva, we could use Adobe, we could use, I forget, there's another one that's popular, or like PowerPoint, for example. We could use whatever we wanted when we, were working on things in this course, but how to do it and why you would use certain types of graphics or typography versus other ones, that was the information that I sought this class out for.
Okay. So, but if I'm trying to make sure I'm following along, I'm not trying to, yes, they taught me I could use these platforms. I don't really care about learning the tool. It's more about the why and how of choosing.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I also needed experience in using the tools.
Okay.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, because there are so many different, platforms out there to, do what I wanted to do. But even using, Canva, for example, I had, zero experience in it.
Okay.
And it's still sketchy.
Okay, fair enough.
My ability to use it. Still sketchy.
So tell me, maybe the important part for me. So you mentioned about a year ago you've joined this LinkedIn course. You had this LinkedIn Premium thing at the time. The first thought of this is, how do I put myself out on social media? When do you have that?
Yes.
When does that thought bubble up in your head, and like what's?
I don't know. I'm not understanding. Say that again.
Well, so if let's say it's a year ago, let's imagine it's September 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Joining the course. The the sort of instigation of this is me thinking, how do I put myself out on social media? When does that thought happen? Is this like immediately I go and look for a course, or has this happened, months or years or weeks?
No, it had been something that I had been thinking about. How do I do this? What's the best way? And I believe that it was an advertisement, like a pop-up, something that I seen, through LinkedIn. To be honest, I don't remember where I seen it, but it was an ad, and I can't remember what that ad even said, but for some reason, I clicked on the link, followed it through, and it just kind of took me to like, why didn't I think of that before? Why didn't I think about, something as simple as, taking this class, or this course. And really that's all there was to it. If that helps answer where I got from it, just being a thought to doing it.
Yeah, it does. I guess, just in my experience of talking to people who do this, you see an ad and it speaks to you. It's like, oh, wow, why didn't I like?
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't I think of that before? Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously that means that prior to that ad, you were thinking about something that there was a gap that this suddenly fit perfectly into and spoke to you. So when did you first sort of realize there was a problem to solve, or even if you didn't know you were going to do this course, when did you first start thinking about?
When I first, thought, how do we get something going? How do I even start this? Who would I even reach out to? Who, how and why? I mean, it was a million questions I had in my, head, trying to figure it out. So, I mean, it was months of trying to, and then I think just seeing that, it was just kind of like a light bulb went on. Well, if I'm going to do this, I need to know how to do these things, to make it look like, a 5-year-old didn't do it. So when I seen that, ad, I thought, well, I'll try that.
Okay. This is cool. Thank you.
And that was really as simple as it was.
Yeah. And so maybe the piece I'm missing in my puzzle. So this is, I want to go and raise some money. I want to help people who are in need.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you've started that off like June this year.
Mm-hmm.
September last year, you've joined a course on it. When did you first think about launching this kind of, I don't know if it's a charity or a support or whatever it is that it's going to be?
I mean, it's literally this grassroots, idea. Probably a year and a half ago is when I initially started, thinking there has got to be a way. There has got to be something out there. I mean, there's tons of funding for different, programs, and, a lot of them have a lot of red tape. And I wanted something that wasn't like that. So.
Okay. So this is like a year and a half ago, you're sat there, there's got to be something out there, but everything you bump into is too much red tape. You start thinking, I'm going to start this myself.
Exactly.
No one else is doing it, I'll do it.
Right. Not yet. At this point, it's just pretty much what kind of initial feedback can I get?
Okay. And back when you joined this course, I'm trying to work out, like, had you already started using social media to promote stuff, or were you like a complete blank sheet of paper?
No, not other than just personal, little personal, posts or updates or things like that. But I had been not really studying them, but just trying to pay attention to, okay, why did I just watch that video 5 times versus, something that you just don't even finish watching? You know,
Okay.
what about that made, you know, what made that, why was I so engaged in that one versus, you know, this one? So in my mind, thinking, how am I going to, in essence, do that same thing for people? And I knew the first piece of that, and just getting to that point with, you know, other, you know, things you have going on in your life and work and whatever, and this kind of being something, you know, that's on the side. Um, you know, I finally got to that point where I seen that and went, oh, duh, I'll take a class in this, and then maybe I can, you know, again, make this look somewhat professional.
Okay. That's cool. So if I'm hearing you right, I'm not actively on social media pushing stuff out there at this time. It's still more an idea in my head of something I want to do.
Yes.
However, when I am on there, I'm consuming content, and
Right.
some of the content captures my attention, and other stuff I just scroll straight past. And so this is,
Exactly.
I'm not necessarily looking for a course, but I am sat there wondering, why did I watch that one 5 times, and why did I just zip straight past that? And then how do I do that myself?
Exactly.
Okay, that's cool.
Exactly.
And had you been, had this been going on for long, or was this just like is it something that you've always thought, I wonder how this one's caught my attention, or was it specifically because you're trying to catch attention yourself in the future? And
I mean, it's something that I think about just because I'm kind of a nerd like that. But when I had the idea about doing this, it was more front and center, you know, as I scroll through social media. It's, you know, number one for, you know, I mean, I do scroll just for my own personal interest, but I'm also looking at it from this other point of view, and how can I, you know, relate that to, you know, this thing I'm trying to launch,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
That's cool. And so I guess I can imagine I'm sort of shooting this scene. How often are you on LinkedIn or social media at that point in time? Were you on there all the time, or was this like just sort of dipping your toe in the water? How do we shoot the scene?
Being on there for this specific project or just in general?
Just in general, I suppose.
Oh, easily probably a couple hours a day. I would say I would average it a couple hours a day.
Okay, so you're like, and normally you're on there for what reason? What are you trying to do?
Just, you know, a lot of times I'll just get a notification on my phone. Something will pop up and I'll go,
Okay.
oh, I watch it, and then I'm sucked in, you know. So then the cycle starts, you know, and I start thinking about my project and how, you know, can I do this? How can I make that? If there's something that pops up and it isn't just a video of someone yakking, you know, especially the ones that just have scenery or, you know, a quote or a poem, or, you know, it's those ones especially that I try to pay attention to. Why did I like that? Why did I linger on it so long? Because those are the types of things that I knew I wanted to be able to put together for this project. Because I'm not
Okay.
going to go on there and yammer away with this mug, you know, just you know, trying to promote this.
So it's kind of, I'm not going to be on videos myself, but I like, if I'm looking at scenery, quotes, poems, things like this, it pulled me in. Did you ever work out what was it about those things that did pull you in? Like why is that capturing your attention and other stuff isn't?
Right. And yeah, why did they? And then I thought from that point, okay, how do I create this? And that's what I didn't know how to do.
Yeah, I guess. But it sounds like you were trying to solve a puzzle of why is this capturing my attention. Did you solve that puzzle? Did you work out what it was about these things that spoke to you uniquely versus whatever it is, other content types?
Partially because I just think, I guess my human nature is a lot of positivity. I like things that are, upbeat and gosh, I don't know, my glass is just always half full, so those ones that were even the ones where they show the deck of cards falling, just some of them just kind of, grab you. But as far as, I mean, I knew I didn't want certain ones,
Can you give an example?
I don't know. Say that again.
Maybe it'd be easier if I understood what did you not want?
Oh, I mean, I did not want anything pertaining to, violence or, hippie hoppy rap stuff. I think the videos of people, as much as I love the cause, the ones where they go around and they just grab random homeless people on the streets and they help them, I think that's wonderful, but I think it's just overdone. It was things like that I didn't want. I just wanted, the ones that could be, maybe it's just an image of, flowing lava. I wanted something soothing, something calming, but yet something that people are going to see and read and wonder why. But I also, any image that pertains to, it's called, SSDI, I read that. I do, and I watch those videos of the folks on there that get on there and promote it, and just because personally that's of interest to me. But
sorry, I'm very ignorant of this. SSDI.
That's what it's called here. At the end of this, that's what these people are applying for.
Oh, okay. Well, what does it mean?
Social Security. It's called Social Security Disability Insurance.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry,
nope, that's fine.
Just making sure that I know the terms.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fine.
So if I try and play this back, then, so I'm on social media anyway. I'm kind of ping. Here's a notification. Let me go back and do it, and then it starts to trigger me to think about, I want to launch something. I want to get out there as well. If I'm seeing stuff that puts me off, it's violent stuff, it's rap, it's videos of people that where it's kind of random acts of kindness or whatever. I think this is all overdone. Whereas if I'm seeing something positive, upbeat, that grabs me, and I see something and I wonder why, that pulls me in. It's soothing, it's calming. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So how can I, convert that into what I think will engage people? So that's the part that, I think initially prompted or promoted me to, I guess, seek out this class. Because as far as how to put together this type of information, I had no idea.
Okay. So you see something and you wonder why. So it's causing a question in your head, I suppose. Mm-hmm. You want to cause a question in somebody else's head? Is that what
exactly? Exactly. And make them aware, get them thinking. I want my thinking to get someone else thinking, to motivate them to, share it, spread the word, get even more people thinking about this.
Okay. So it's kind of if I can get in somebody else's head, I can get them thinking, and then maybe they're going to pick up the calls and carry it on for me.
That's my hope.
Yeah. Okay. So Tammy, just on that, at the time you're not, you're you're sat there being thoughtful about this and trying to work out how to solve the problem, but you're not actively shopping or looking for a course to do it. And then all of a sudden, boom, a LinkedIn ad comes up and speaks to you, and you're like, well, why didn't I think of doing that?
Right.
How does that work? I've never joined a LinkedIn course, so like, do you click it and go and join immediately, or did you have to register?
Can't, I mean, you could, but I seen it, and there were there were a lot of different ones available, from
Okay.
like a very beginning one to more advanced to something that specialized in more video than still, still shots, or just
Okay.
so I scrolled through. I had to look for the one that I thought might be the best one for me, so I kind of grabbed one.
Yeah, this is awesome. So even though the ads grabbed me, it's like, wow, yeah, why didn't I think of that? It hasn't pulled me to one specific course. It's pulled me to like a menu of options almost.
Exactly.
Okay, and then this is going to be very important. How on earth do I work out? Like, if I've gone from I wasn't even looking for a course, how do I then go and choose one from this vast array of possible options?
It was literally the description that,
Okay.
because there were so many to choose from, and I knew I was not going to, nor did I have the time to click on every single one to read the whole paragraph of it. So whatever the heading of that description was, knowing what I wanted the most from a course like this, that's how I chose.
Yeah, so obviously you weren't looking for a course, but it pulled you in, and you're looking at the description, the heading saying the one that matches what I wanted. What was it you wanted? What were you?
I wanted some basic graphic design, visual, visual engagement, or so that was something. I did. I wanted some like core principles, I guess, behind it. And then again, the visual design, were the main things. How to do it, why, do these, why does this work? And then, obviously, visual, so it was kind of, those were the three of the top things that I wanted to and knew that I needed to come out of this. Okay. So I pretty much scrolled through and looked for whichever course had a title that I thought would work.
Got it. Do you remember how long this took to go through here? Like, did you do it over the course of many days, or was this just I'm in here once?
No, maybe 30 minutes at the most.
Okay. And can you remember the things you rejected? Like, if you were scrolling past something, why did it get scrolled past rather
anything
than
that said anything that said advanced?
Okay.
That for me for sure was out.
Why is that?
Anything that said like a length of time. Like if it said, 6 weeks, or I knew I was not investing that. I didn't have that kind of time to invest in something like that. I wanted something shorter.
Okay.
And I wanted something that I potentially could have access to, stop, and then go back to.
Okay. Kind
of a learn as you go, on your own pace kind of thing.
Yeah. Thanks. This is really useful. Thank you. So I don't want advanced. Like, why not? Like, if you're seeing all these sort of super duper things that are capturing your attention, why don't you want to go right to the end zone and learn how to do the
Because in
advanced?
my mind, when I see advanced, I felt like I already needed to know all of these basics in order to even be up to speed when I took that class. That's
Okay.
what advanced tells me.
Okay, so if I'm hearing it right, if I see advanced, it's triggering a sort of a worry in my head of what on earth do I need to know before I can even turn up here? Whereas if I see basic, it's like, yeah, okay, I can join this. I
Right.
don't need
I can
to.
learn.
Yeah. 6 weeks, you didn't have that amount of time. Why not? Like what, how much time in your head had you allocated to this?
Well, number one, I wanted something that I could kind of go through at my own pace. So I kind of knew that. So when
Yeah.
I say narrowed this down to 6 or 7,
Yeah.
and then went in and read the description that told me more about how long it was, how much it cost, if there were the cost, if it was a learn as you go, or if it was more, yes, you have to be online for an hour every Wednesday night, at 7 o'clock. I knew I didn't want to commit to anything like that. So when I seen, 6 weeks, in a title,
Yeah.
to me that said you need to commit to a certain time frame every week. And I knew I didn't want to do that.
And why aren't you willing to commit to that at that point in time?
Just with with my own personal schedule. I knew I, didn't want to have anything that rigid.
Okay.
At least for that first one, just dabbling, just getting into it. I personally didn't, it wasn't a fit for me.
Okay. So is this kind of related then to the fact, like, I definitely don't want advanced. I don't want something where I've got to learn all this stuff or know stuff when I turn up. And as a result, I'm kind of dabbling with this rather than like, is that the difference between, like, if I dabble with it, I'm at a beginner course. If I'm doing something else, I'm not dabbling.
I wouldn't say that. Well, I wouldn't say not dabbling, but I just knew anything that said advanced, I felt like I wasn't ready for.
Yeah. Okay. And I think you said earlier on, when you've been trying to do this kind of, you want a basic graphic design, you want a visual engagement or visual design, like how to do it and why do these work.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the core principles behind what?
Like why do you use certain fonts? Like why, would you use a, Arial or Times New Roman? I mean,
And what?
time,
I guess,
that kind of stuff. And I felt like when it said core principles that it might have, I'm just when I learn something, I want to know why. Like, oh, here's a rule to follow, or here's a guideline to follow. Oh, you have to do this when you do this in a spreadsheet. Well, I want to know why. Why am I doing that? So
okay.
for me, it builds that part of my nerd brain. That's what I call it.
Right. This is ticks the nerd brain.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you said you looked at about 6 or 7 different choices. We've rejected the advanced ones anyway. We've rejected the ones that take too long.
Mm-hmm.
What's left? The 6 or 7 that you're actually looking at. How do I sift through those? How do I choose one or throw away the rest?
Well, I basically read through the course descriptions and knowing, what I kind of wanted to be able to do at the end of it.
Yep.
Based on those descriptions, I filtered, on what it said. And then, okay, at the end of this, do I think I'm going to be able to do what I want to do?
Okay. Maybe that's a good segue into what was it that you did want to do. So if at that point in time, at the end of this course, what what skills has Tammy got, or what abilities have you got that you didn't have beforehand?
Right. And I wanted to know what programs were out there that I could use easily. Is this class going to touch on any of those programs? Because if I picked up PowerPoint, I'd be a loose cannon. That's not a program that I'm very familiar with. Now, paint, say over the years I've messed with that, but now there's so many new programs, with Canva and, I think it's Adobe Illustrator, at the end of this, which ones am I going to be able to use, and are they going to be easy to use?
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to know that. That helped me narrow it down.
Okay, and just so I make sure I'm capturing this correctly, I'm interested. The course has to help me know which programs I can easily use. Does that mean I've already got, like, let's say Canva in my head, and I want to learn specifically about Canva, or I want to go and learn from a course which options I've got and which are the easiest ones?
From the course, I wanted to know which options were going to be good for me to know, because I didn't even know about Canva.
Okay.
Some of the options that Adobe had until I took this. I didn't know that there was anything more than Adobe Acrobat. I thought that was it.
Okay. So. Yeah. And was that all you were looking for, or did you want some other things at the end of the course that you didn't have to begin with?
Well, to be able to use them, what's out there, how to use them. For me personally, it was, how can I use these tools to make what I want to make? Whether it be a slide show type, post or video, a video comprised of different slides, or just one slide with, changing images, unfortunately the class that I picked didn't have a lot of video, like how to put together videos and things like that. However, now there are tons of programs out there that, help you edit a video, etc. So,
Okay.
but I knew that was something that I ultimately wanted to do at the end of this. So,
okay. So basically, if I'm going through this and I'm sort of shooting this scene, you've gotten rid of half an hour of scrolling on amount, nothing advanced, nothing I'm committing loads of time to. I just want to sort of dabble with this, and now it's got to be able to teach me what I want, how to do what I want to do in the end. And specifically, this for you was how to use the tools and how to choose a tool that you could use easily.
Yes. And is that tool going to be able to create what I want it to create?
And what in your head then? Did you know what you wanted to create?
Not specifically, but I knew I wanted to be able to put together engaging images.
Okay.
And
this might be a really dumb question.
No, you're fine.
I ask a lot of them. Don't worry. Can I create engaging images? Like what's an engaging image?
Just something that's going to grab someone's attention, that's going to make them stop and watch more or read more.
Cool. Okay. At that time, you've obviously rejected a bunch of courses. If you had 6 or 7, and there's 5 or 6 that have hit the bin. Why did they? If you're reading the descriptions, why did they get cut? They were basic and short.
Either there was a lot more to it than I was ready for. Some of them just seemed like they went way deeper than what I felt like I needed. Because maybe that particular course catered to someone that was in the newspaper industry, and they were, you know what I mean, or a magazine, marketing, rep. I knew that was nothing that I needed. I didn't want anything that was going to teach me how to put together a 10 page like magazine spread. I didn't need that. I wanted something a little more simple. So those ones got cut.
Okay.
So then it got narrowed down to probably two or three at most.
Okay. And of those 2 or 3, is this still all happening within the first half an hour, or are you investing more time in this?
Yeah, no, it's probably still within that initial time frame. And I mean, maybe a little more, because I honestly don't remember if I stopped and then, went and made dinner and then went back to it, but in total time. But then of the 2 or 3, it might have been price. Was it included in my subscription? And was it, I did end up picking one that was kind of like a preset course. So I could go in, I could look, I could learn, I could go take these, steps A through whatever, stop, and I could go back to them anytime I wanted to. It was definitely a learn as you go. And so that's what I picked in the end.
Okay. And on this, you mentioned price. Did this cost you anything?
Nope, this one was included in my subscription.
Okay. Other ones, were they all included at this stage? So 2 or 3 that you looked at, or did other ones come with a cost?
No, other ones were a cost. The ones that had a cost associated with them, if I remember correctly, seemed to be the ones that geared more towards the, advertising professional, somebody that's, creating a layout for a multi-million-dollar contract. They were just much more advanced or delved into that industry. And those ones seem to have costs associated with them more.
Okay. So in this case, you got it included. Like what did it involve? Obviously, you didn't want a 6-week course and you didn't want to invest a lot of time. How much time, like, or duration or content or whatever it makes sense? Like what did you end up getting for your subscription?
In total, I would say probably, if I went through it beginning to end without stopping and say working on examples, or creating an example like was suggested as you went through, kind of using the tool or the, first section, and then here's a little working example you do, and then here was a section, here's a little working example. Without doing the working examples, I'd say there was 8 to 10 hours of content.
Okay. Is that a lot?
I'm not sure. This was kind of the one and only that I took.
Yeah, I guess because 6 weeks of this was definitely too much. But did you complete the whole thing?
I did. I went through the whole thing.
Okay.
And I even went back to it. You were able to go back to it. So I don't know if I should be telling you this or not, but there were certain portions of it that I copied and pasted, and I may or may not have downloaded to save for later.
But you don't worry. So that is important though, because obviously these captured your attention. So what were those pieces that you wanted to go back to out of the 8 to 10 hours? What caught your eye?
They were just gosh, I'm trying to think, because honestly, I mean, I've went back to them. I just haven't lately. So I'm trying to think. I know that they had to do with like laying out fonts or laying out the typography, how you want it to lay out to grab, attention, why you do it. So I know I referred back to that one a couple of times when I, maybe have an image put together, but like, okay, now, how do I want to lay this out? So I'd go back to that and kind of reread through it and see if it sparked anything.
Okay. I'm totally non-artistic here. I'm doing something about visual courses, but you bring up the fonts and the layout of the fonts quite a lot. Why is that important in a visual thing? Like, why am I not just, I don't know, creating a stick man or something like this? Or
because I think the words that I need to get out there, because of what I'm trying to do, I think the caption, the description, the title, the heading, I think those are important for what I'm doing.
Okay. Can you sort of explain it? So you're going in there, you're learning about the visuals, but actually it's the caption, the title, and the heading that seem to be what you've grabbed from the course and kept. Why is that so important to what you're doing? Like,
because that's what I need. I feel like for whatever reason, feel like that's what I need to grab my audience.
Okay. So, okay, none of this is different. It's I wanted to be able to create the visuals to grab the audience, but the pieces are part of the visual, are they?
Say that again.
I guess originally you're saying, I'm drawn in by these calming, soothing images and scenes, and so I wanted to learn how to do that, and I want to do that to grab people's attention because it's grabbed mine. And now after the course, actually, I want the typography and the caption, the title, and the heading to grab the attention. Does that mean I've stopped using the images?
No, I haven't stopped. I'd say kind of integrated.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And like, imagine I'm on this course. What is it teaching me to do? Like, what do I learn about?
I guess why certain. One of the things that I didn't realize was like why certain fonts like are tied to different emotions. You know what I mean? I guess I didn't realize that. And they were right, as I went through and looked at different examples that they had in the program. So I try to be mindful of that, when I'm using them in, the things that I create.
Okay. And is this going back to, you think you wanted soothing, calming, whatever, not this kind of aggressive, violent stuff over here?
Right.
So this goes with the image. If I create a soothing image, I've got to choose a soothing font.
Something that's going to be easy to read, but easy to read, but main key points. So I try not to be super wordy, so it doesn't require a lot of work for people. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, just when people are scrolling, I feel like that's kind of their downtime, and I'm being lazy right now, so I just want easy to read, but yet readable. Like they're gonna see it and maybe remember it, maybe not, but that's my intent.
And the emotional side of things here, what's important about that? Am I trying to cause somebody to feel an emotion, or am I trying to avoid causing an emotion that I didn't want to cause?
No, definitely cause, just get their attention, maybe awareness, make them aware, and then, some empathy, and then maybe, take it enough of a step further to share it, just to get the word out there of what we're trying to do.
Okay, so this is about me creating something that resonates enough with some other person that they feel awareness, empathy, and the desire to sort of champion your cause.
Right, to engage, with at least that particular post enough to do something with it.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Tammy, I'm kind of coming to the end of this. I think it looks like I've captured most of your story. When
Yes.
when you joined this course, what were you worried about anything?
Well, I mean, not really super like as far as the course itself.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, at that
Mm,
time, you've spent half an hour shopping or going through and sifting this. You're then committed
no,
to it.
no, I wasn't really that worried about it because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, other than some time, I don't really have anything invested in this. So I felt like even if I learned 3 takeaways from it, I wasn't out anything.
Yeah. Okay. The flip side to that, obviously, you've spent half an hour of your life shopping for courses that you previously weren't even aware you needed. What were you hoping for?
Actually, what I got out of that one, for the most part, I would say, is just some basic skills. Am I on the right track with what I'm trying to even do? So maybe some confidence, or if that's the right word, just a little bit of affirmation that, how I had kind of been, putting things together and laying them out. I was on the right track. What can I do with those, to make them better? So I guess to more answer the question, yeah, I think they were, I don't know. I think it was worth it, I guess, overall. Unless that doesn't really answer.
Oh, you've answered it. I think there's a couple of pieces here. So obviously, the basic skills is important, and then it's, am I on the right track? So it sounds like you were already framing up ideas or posts. Maybe you're not posting them, but is my layout okay? How do I improve and get better?
Right. Right. And again, I think I took it for affirmation to learn more. And then, do I need more than this one? That was another something else that I'm kind of been dabbling with lately is, or do I need a repeat,
Yeah.
I guess,
Okay.
to go on from this point.
And I guess the this sort of confidence and affirmation piece is interesting. But prior to the course, you don't have confidence?
Not a lot, because like I said, I'm not a super artsy fartsy person, but I do like to create. I mean, I do like to play around with things like this. I just don't know if at the end, like, oh, I might think it looks okay, but is someone else going to look at it and go, ew, So,
and why is that important? Like, what
well,
do
I think I felt like by taking this and going through it, that it helped with my confidence a little bit, at least in knowing, well, if that other person doesn't like it, so what? I use tools from these people who are educated, and they put this course together, and they said that this works. So there it is.
Okay. So it's really the confidence to put this out in public. Beforehand, I'm a bit worried. I can put it together.
Yeah.
I like
Oh,
it.
definitely helped.
Yeah.
Definitely helped.
And now I've taken the course. I don't care whether you like it or not. At least I'm following.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, that's cool. And it did help then, by the sounds of things. You got value from it.
100%. Oh, 100%.
That's awesome. Tammy, that is great. Thank you so much. I think it's coming up to the end of the hour. I've asked some pretty dumb questions. What have I missed?
I can't believe you're gone already. That was fast.
Yeah. What have I missed in your story? Like what's important that maybe I didn't ask about?
I don't know. I think we covered a lot of it, but what else? I mean, I know you said this is kind of just you're in the beginning or developmental stages of kind of a little prototype idea, what is it that you're hoping to, gain all this research from?
Oh, like I said, the language that you're using is the important part. And so I'm just going to talk to lots of people. I'm going to listen to a lot of people, and then hopefully we'll put you all into groups of people who've done this for broadly the same things. And normally I find that people in those groups share the same language. So it's like, when I'm trying to get attention, or when I see something that grabs my attention, and I want the ability to do that to somebody else, and then so I can do it. But when I'm not artsy fartsy or whatever it was you said, when I I don't want something advanced or anything like that. I don't want to be scared off, and so I can learn the tools and things like this. And so it's kind of, if I listen to enough of these stories, I start to, everybody's different. You've got your specific use for this and your own unique background, but often the language starts to form in such a way that you see, oh, these people over here were on a quest to do X, and somebody else was on a totally different quest, but they'd ended up on the same course. And therefore, like, how do we improve it, and how do we, give people the tools? If you're off on that direction, how do we arm you up and give you all of the confidence and affirmation that you're going to get where you want to go? And so, right now, early stage, because I'm trying to learn. Once we've got that and we've got a picture of it, then we can start making decisions on what to do and how to use it. So, So this, it's super. I really appreciate your time. I wish you all the best in getting this out there and helping people. And
thank you.
Super. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Okay. So there's another one, and I'm definitely starting to hear common themes, common stories here now. It's to do with the resonance of these ideas. If I see something, it captures my attention. But until I want to go and capture somebody else's attention, I don't care. Like, nobody's thinking about that. I'm just going to doom scroll through some posts. But then all of a sudden I move into a context where I'm thinking, hey, I need to launch something. I need to get it out there. I need to get the word out. I need to get other people to rally behind this. And then I start to see things and stop and think. I'm like, hey, that caused me to stop and think. Why did that work? How did that work? And what am I going to do? And then, I need something basic, not artsy fartsy. We've seen this so many times, I think, in all the stories. Doesn't matter how good somebody is at art, they're feeling that they don't have the skills they need. And that's going to put me off paying for some expensive, high price thing. I don't need to be an expert. I just need the basics, even though she's not paying. In this case, she's paying with her time and not with money. But I think the trade-offs we'll see here, I suspect you'll see she'll land in a group with people who chose a cheap option on their course rather than the expensive one. Because again, I think if you're advanced, or you're going to go and use it for advanced purposes, you're going to motivate more money up to go and, I need to use this in anger versus, hey, I think she said dabbling. And we've got people who are dipping their toe in the water. They don't want to be an expert. They just want to move into this space. They want to learn some new skills. They want to explore it. And hopefully they can then translate that into a way to communicate better with others, grab other people's attention, and get the outcome they want. So I think we've heard flavors of this story before. I'll debrief this into 4 forces and share my ideas once I've done that. Hopefully this is beneficial for everybody. Cheers.